gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What's going on? We are live. Before we get started too much into this, go ahead and let me know in the comments if you can see and hear us, and then we'll move forward from there. Hopefully y'all can. Let us know if you like that intro video that was on there. Someone worked very hard on getting that done, and I am very proud of her for doing so. Let's see. Barrett Russell is in here and says, love that Steph Wilson banner. Yes, the DemoNation banner, that is Steph Wilson, and I absolutely love that as well. Again, let's see, if you'll let me know you can see and hear me in here, we'll get started with this. This is a brand new show, debut of a brand new show that we are carrying. We already have hell of a show. We already have Unscripted, and this is going to be one huge week for us at Dark Enterprises because it's anniversary time for a lot of these shows, and our company is official, as in we owe more money than we're making because it's official like that. But it happens. It's fun. We all do this because we love it, right? Barrett says, I can hear you nice and clear. Excellent. Perfect. All right. So that being said, if you watched the video, you already saw the 3 guests that'll be on here this week. Each week, that'll be changed out with the guests that are on there. It's something we're going to do a little bit different to kind of showcase their work. This show is all about getting the creators out here and just showcasing current campaigns only. Now, why would I stress current campaigns only? I've had other shows. Hell of a Show is one of the main ones where I've had people on there that have had projects that have just spanned throughout the year, throughout lifetime, whatever the scenario is. They may have one on the on the horizon next month. They may have one it's next week. I want to showcase those who are working on it right now, who are doing the grind. So we have 3 here tonight that are doing the grind, and we're going to bring them up here, and then we're going to get them to introduce themselves. I swear it is coffee. I swear. And then we will dig deeper into each of their projects. So let's start off with, we'll bring, let's see, Christie Shinn up here. We will bring Madeliene Holly-Rosing up here and Caleb Palmquist, all three of my guests over here. Thank you very much for being here tonight, first off. And let's go ahead and start around the room here. We'll start with Christie to Madeliene to Caleb. Go ahead and let them know who you are, what you do, and where to find you.
My name is Christie Shinn. I am the creator of Demon Bitch. I'm a Ringo Award-winning artist and general comic creator because I'm getting more and more into writing. So I guess a creator. And yeah, I'm currently running a Kickstarter campaign that's going to end the morning of the 6th.
There we go. Excellent. Madeliene, you're up next.
I'm Madeliene Holly-Rosing. I'm the writer-creator of the steampunk supernatural series, Boston Metaphysical Society, and I'm currently running a Kickstarter for Volume 2.
Very cool. And Caleb, you're up.
My name is Caleb Palmquist. I am the writer and creator of a few series, including one I'm running right now on Kickstarter called Vampire Detective in Space.
Excellent. All right. So all three of you are on crowdfunding platform right now. You're all using Kickstarter. So it's fairly simple to keep all of you together on that one. Caleb, you are like dangerously close to funding. In fact, it'd be nice if we could go ahead and do that during the show. Would be really good. Thing out there. We're going to go ahead and start off. We're going to kind of go in order on this one of everybody that's up here and talk to each one of y'all. And then I'm going to kind of bring up some points that we're all going to be discussing. So first off, I want to start with Christie. Christie, give us like the elevator pitch on what your project is exactly.
Well, my project is, I like to name my campaign something different, like as it's a whole encompassing different thing. So basically it's called You All Suck, because this was documenting my time when I was watching everything from my computer screen out to COVID, because, you know, pretty much everybody was in isolation. And so hence and obviously I drew tons of Demon Bitch cartoons because, you know, there was a lot of inspiration. So the new book is called Triggered, and that's what this is one of the things it's funding. So it's now actually going to be one of the first books to be featured in hardcover as well. And I will reproduce it en masse in hardcover, many more copies of it at 7,500. Right now I'm at 7,132 at the moment. And the next thing I'm funding, and I will be closing off the beta test or the availability for beta test after this campaign. And it is the Disgusting Dumpster Fire. That's level 1 for beta test for the Demon Bitch game. And that's essentially, she wakes up and she needs attention in any way, shape, or form. So you can either do the hospital selfie, you can do the false injury selfie, you could do the false I'm depressed selfie. And I say false I'm depressed selfie, not actual like depression. And then the last one is, you know, just anything to get attention, like the world sucks and I hate everything kind of thing. So, you know, we've all seen it on social media before, or the false influencer thing. You know, I'm doing this for clout. So the clout chaser. So essentially, and also there's going to be Tamagotchi pins with glow in the dark expressions for the enamel pins. There will be actually a purse charm of Animu Demon that's done by Mary Zorlita Bellamy, as well as some prints. And she's a My Little Pony fame. She's one of the official artists. And lastly, there's like a tiki patch and sticker, and it's literally called 2 hot dogs. So there you go. And, you know, there's retailer options and everything. So we've already funded, but I'd like to do more.
Nice. Very nice. Madeliene, give us your sales pitch. What's your elevator pitch on yours? What you're working on?
Sure. Boston Metaphysical Society is about an ex-Pinkerton detective, a spirit photographer, and a genius scientist who battles supernatural forces in late 1800s Boston. What's on Kickstarter now is Volume 2, which compiles all of our previously published sequels, which include The Scourge of the Mechanical Men, Spirit of Rebellion, Ghosts and Demons, and The Book of Demons, though Volume 1 is also available in digital and print edition. What makes this particular volume special is a 10-page bonus story that's exclusive to this volume with art by Roberta Ingranata. And we have a fabulous cover by Marguerite Savage, which you probably you've all seen because it's all over social media. And we have a brand new lapel pin of a steam engine. It was designed by Alejandro Lee. And our standalone audio drama, The Ghost Ship, will also be available in CD and downloadable form.
Excellent. And we will be looking at y'all's projects here shortly as well, and bringing them up on share screen. So I'm just kind of, getting the gist of what's going on with all this, and then we'll dig much deeper into these. So we'll be showing off some of those. So don't worry, we're definitely gonna be showing that cover. I know exactly which one you're talking about, so we'll be showing them. And Caleb, what about you?
Okay, so the project I'm running right now is for the second issue of Vampire Detective in Space, which is truly everything it says on the tin. I have really fallen into the habit of naming my comic books the thing that they are, because I found my first comic book I ever did had a very confusing title that was hard to explain. And so I was like, this is it. So this is for the second issue. There's a few variant covers and stickers and stuff. I love doing stickers. But it's a pretty straightforward campaign. And of course you can get my other books on there, like Unicorn Vampire Hunter, which is probably the thing I'm best known for.
Excellent. And yes, I know you by Unicorn Vampire Hunter. I've seen that one, and that was that's a different twist on unicorns. I don't think I'll ever look at them the same way after that.
There's Cabin in the Woods.
Exactly. Okay, now what I would like to do is, first off, we're going to go ahead and ask a couple of questions and get to know the creators behind the work just a little bit more before we dig more into the work itself. Because you've got campaigns out there, we want to know why you have campaigns out there. Why, what drives you to go ahead and do the work that you do, and how do you keep going out there and just keep making more campaigns? I'm going to start off with Madeliene on this one and say, what is the drive? What fuels you to go ahead and say, I've got one out here now. I already know I want another one and another one and another one, and so on and so forth.
I'm afraid it's something very pedestrian, as it's part of the business plan. I mean, this is what I do full time now. So Kickstarter is part of the overall business plan in order to keep the comic and the stories going, so I can pay my artists and my letterer and pay for printing and get more and more stories out there. I mean, the impetus is really just so I can keep making these stories, whether they be in graphic novel form, prose form, or audio form.
Okay. And that makes perfect sense on there. We need a business plan, by the way. We have a business now. We need a business plan. Just write that down somewhere. I'm joking, of course, really. No, that makes a lot of sense to have that in the plan, so you have a goal set up there and you're trying to hit that, and you constantly try to surpass and do better on that. So let me ask Caleb on this one. Caleb, how do you see, like, whenever you're going along on a campaign and you see the tempo that it's going, and you see that it's going in a forward motion like you want it to go, and you're getting ready for the next one, how do you go ahead and set your next goal? How far do you go out on that one? How far do you want to see that go?
That's an interesting question. I have a baseline that I set for single issues, and I don't necessarily set the next goal based on how well I did the previous time. It's basically based on the lowest I can set the goal and still be solvent at the end of the day. So usually for me, if it's a single issue, $6,000, I truly can't see myself setting a goal lower than that, especially because I pay artists. Usually, things go beyond that. I don't know. Lately I've been in a pattern of it's just like $6,000 every time. Mm-hmm. I did an anthology where I had to set it way higher, just because printing a 200-page book just straight up costs a lot more money. But for the single issues, that's about where I set it. And then I just let it organically become what it's going to become. So for example, with the Unicorn Vampire Hunter campaigns, they've been hitting like 15,000 or so. And so on those, I'm able to kind of expand what I'm printing and expand the content that I'm doing in going into the future. But it's all based, the goals are all based on what is strictly necessary, because I, unfortunately, am not at the point yet where this is my full-time job. That is, of course, like everyone, a goal of mine. And of course, I'm looking at people like Madeliene and like Pat Shand and other people who are doing it. full time, and those are the people that I'm emulating. So of course, Madeliene, you have to know this, that I'm, looking at all your campaigns and copying everything you do. So.
Yeah.
That's whenever you follow up with the checks in the mail. No, I mean, that's great that you're doing that in the way that you have that set up, and that you're looking for more expansion, more growth on there by changing some things up. You're looking at what's working for you and expanding on there. Things that aren't, you're trying to adapt and figure out how that's working. Christie, I'm going to ask you, with what you've done, how many projects have you done, by the way, on Kickstarter?
Well, I've actually done, this will be my 5th campaign technically, but my 4th successful one.
Right.
So the first one, I was still getting kind of an idea of Kickstarter. Like I talked to Madeliene, but it's kind of like wearing a new pair of pants. Like initially, kind of have to kind of figure it out, like the nuances. So I ran the campaign. It was not successful, the first one, but then I learned, like I kind of processed it. And then every campaign since then, I've gotten higher and higher, asked for higher and higher amounts. And also, like the first campaign, I asked for $5,000 and I didn't get it. So I wanted to beat that goal just as a personal thing, because it's like, I'm not like, no, this is fucking personal. I get to go kill this goal. So I asked for about 5.5K, and then I actually surpassed it to 6,100. So sometimes I take about $1,000 or several hundred to $1,000, depending, kind of feeling the air like this. I know it's kind of weird, but that's how I do it. And then I increase it. So I did 7K, and I knew 7K, I could do these things definitely in that time frame. And if I went more, sure, but I decided to do it, and I ended up doing it. I mean, it's good so far. I'd like to do more. So it's just sort of one of those things, like I want to get to the point where it's like, yeah, 20K, I can fulfill that. It's like it funds in like a few days or something. I'd like to get to that point. But I find Kickstarter, in a way, it challenges me on a certain level, and it kind of increases your confidence level. And I know people are kind of going like, that's a really risky way, but it's like, you have to have some risk. I mean,
Exactly.
build like more confidence. You have to do bigger and bigger things. And, I mean, yeah, it could be easy for me. Like I've had people say to me, like, how come you didn't ask for so little? And I'm like, okay, first of all, my time's worth it. Okay. I need to make it worth my time. You have, like, nobody asks themselves this question. Like a lot of people don't. We were talking about this earlier. B, it's like, how much does your project actually cost? Because I've heard a lot of creators go like, well, I always eat it in shipping hardcore. I always eat it this way. It's like, why are you doing this? This is not your first campaign. You can ask for more, but it's like that confidence level is not there because they don't increase it. And I'm not trying to dog people. I understand, like, they want to get it funded, they want to do this, but you have to, like, it's not always going to be the same all the way around. And, you got to push yourself. I mean, I know not everybody is like super assertive or super anything, but you don't have to be. It's just like, you just have to have a continued level of persistence. And you really have to have this emotional marathoning in your head down. And even then, when you feel like shit, you still have to pursue it. I mean, there are times like in some campaigns, I wanted to kill it because I was like, oh man, I don't know. But the thing is that's why you kind of, hold on, this needs to focus. But, yeah, you have to kind of go on further and further like that. And it's just, for me, it's a constant push. It's to actually hunt the big beast down and kill it so I can move to the bigger one. I mean, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's not the wisest thing, but that's what powers me. But it's like, I can do more and more things. Like the computer game is pretty ambitious, even though I'm doing one level, but there you go. And I'm closing off the beta testing after the Kickstarter. So if people want to pick that up, they can.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with Christie. Persistence is critical, but so is consistency.
Yeah.
And consistently delivering your rewards. This is actually number 12 for me, I think. And like Christie, my first one failed. We all go through it and we learn from it, and everyone has been successful since then. And they've all been varying degrees of funding goals, depending on what it is and the costs of things. So yeah, it's, persistence and consistency and just hanging in there.
And also, it's not working harder. Sometimes it's working smarter too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of like strategic Facebook, Twitter, Instagram posting, and not carpet bombing. I see a lot of folks literally carpet bomb Facebook, and then they end up in Facebook jail, which is a problem when you're running a Kickstarter, or even just relying too much on social media to get the word out and not working ahead of time on your email lists.
Yep.
Also, I'd like to point out also another thing that I think creators kind of run into is that they don't do strategic shipping. They wait until the very end when they've got everything, and then they ship it all in a clump, and they're like, why is it so hard? It's like, well, do you get the prints first? Do you get this first? Just fulfill the orders that have those things you get first. That way they're out the door and people are happy. And then put up a timeline.
End up increasing your total shipping cost by a lot, though, because you're shipping multiple items to people.
No. I'm talking about like if they just order a print, you just get all the prints out. If they just order pins, you get all the prints out.
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
Yeah, but no, you wait till the complete order is done. But I'm just saying like singular things, like some people just order prints, some people just order like maybe pins, and those can not take that much time. I know prints won't. So you can go ahead and ship them out quickly.
What I'll say about shipping is at this point, my life is just one continuous shipping like process. My office is just a permanent like shipping center. It never stops.
Yeah, if Christy may not remember what it looks, if you look behind me, that's actually relatively new. It used to be just stacks of boxes of foam and bubbles. And while I was at in Tucson for the Wild Steampunk convention, I had ordered in the shelving, and my husband put it in while I was gone, and I came back and I'm going, this is so beautiful. But yeah, everything is in order now. But yeah, my office is, not only my office, but it's, shipping central and library and exercise room. And
go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, like, I just have some of my shit in the hallway over there. So yeah,
I have somehow convinced my fiance that like begging and boarding comics like while we watch TV is a leisure activity. So it's like it's all part of the continuing process. I mean, it's just like constant for me. I don't see like there's no time at which I'm like, okay, I don't have to ship stuff for months, just because at this point I'm running like quarterly Kickstarters, so it's always happening.
And that's good because you're keeping that consistency out there to keep your name out there. And that's kind of where my next question is going to is how important is social media presence to everyone that's out here? We'll go ahead and start with Caleb on this one.
Oh, sorry. I really expressed my emotion there. I used to be really big into social media for Kickstarters, and then now Facebook sucks. I still use it. But honestly, I think Facebook is really hard for promoting a campaign unless you're getting creative about how you do it. But in terms of just like Madeliene said, even if you're trying to carpet bomb Facebook, it doesn't even work. It doesn't even work. And so I am such a huge proponent of media, of email lists. I have an email list that has a super high conversion rate because I pretty much only add people who have already given me money to my mailing list. I'm very selective about it, and it has grown over the years, and it's a hugely effective tool. And if that ever stops working, I'm just going to probably be screwed because honestly, I'm sort of a one-trick pony on the promotion at this point. I used to do Facebook a lot, and I have an Instagram and a Twitter and all that stuff, and I'm just not good at it. And if someone knows some secrets to make those things work and convert, let me know, because I do not know.
This one over here, she's actually doing the tweeting stuff as we speak. She knows it more than I do. I look at this stuff and it's Greek to me. And for some reason, she not only knows it, but it's working because we're getting a much bigger following off of Twitter than we are off of anything else. Which, like you said, Facebook used to be the big one, and it no longer is with this. So, there's a lot to do with that. And sometimes it's not a matter of if social media is not working of just dumping it all. You have to kind of evolve a little bit on there. And Madeliene, I want to ask you, have you noticed, where you've lost some of the social media on one platform, you've had to go to a different one and so on and so forth and kind of move around? Or are you relying strictly on those emails and branching off of there? How are you doing it?
I use it all. except for Instagram. Instagram for me is more like fun. I'll post stuff about the comic, but then I'll post, hey, I baked cookies today kind of thing. Like a lot of people do, and just, fun stuff, flower pictures or whatever. But yeah, I for social media, I primarily use Facebook and Twitter. And, with Twitter, in order to get things moving, I will judiciously tag people, try not to over tag, or, some people I know, I'll do it once, and it's not that I want them to back it. They know, just retweet it. And and then on Facebook, there's a bunch of us between, I think Caleb, Russell, Christie, we all know this, is that someone posts something about their Kickstarter on their personal Facebook page. You start liking it. You make a comment. You make another comment. You make another
heart react.
Yeah, or something, a reaction, and then that just starts building. And I kind of call that my unofficial street team. I mean, we are all each other's unofficial street team. That when things get posted, there's some sort of response. I'll see Christie, something will go up with hers and I'll make a comment, same thing with Caleb, and vice versa. And because we all know that's how it works.
Exactly. And we've got a comment out here. I don't know who it is because they didn't give the missions to StreamYard, but rock out the beautiful.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can only imagine who that would be and who they're going after on this one. There's no telling. Hopefully it's not me. I'm hoping. I don't know. But social media presence can be a huge thing on there that really gets you going with this, and it really gives you that extra oomph whenever you go ahead and launch a project and get it going. So we want to go ahead and look at these projects. We're going to start off with Christie on this one. I'm going to go ahead and bring up yours on here. I'll go ahead and share screen. And there we go. All right, so this is your project. So we're going to kind of scroll through here and look this thing over, and you kind of give us some highlights on some things that are on here as we go through. But as you can tell, she is only 10 backers away from hitting that 200 backer mark. That'd be amazing. With 3 days to go to hit that 200 backer mark, she would love to be able to do that. Oh,
yeah, definitely. Like 72 hours I've been marketing it like that. Then I'll do the 48, and then I'll do the 24. So yeah, that's me looking pissed off. The thing is that I think what's kind of helped me on social media, I sort of put up a personality there. So I think people can recognize that. So that's the book Triggered. That's actually going to be published. It's available both in paperback and hardcover. And it's 137 plus pages of bullshit. And it's just basically of all the Demon Bitch cartoons and work that I did during COVID-19. So it's really pretty irreverent. It's like poo-poo humor, but it's also like just very sarcastic humor about people I don't dislike. So we've been through that. And there's been a couple of samples of the new characters that are coming up that I've had in the past year as well. I've also had Demon Bitch on Webtoon as well. So this is a compilation not only of my work, but I've actually had some people that are fans of Demon Bitch send me fan art in. So I've tried to make it interactive as well. I mean, some people draw her sexy and I'm like, sure, okay, whatever. But that's like one of the cartoons right there when I was watching people like clout chase everything. And I was just like I've literally seen people do stuff like this. And I'm like, why? So yeah, it was to the point where it was really quite silly. So this is the computer game right there. It's level 1. It's called Disgusting Dumpster Fire, and it's in the beta test. So if you get this during the campaign, and once the campaign ends, I'm not going and releasing this anymore. The beta test pool is closed. So it's like a $5 reward tier, and it's digital, and you can add it to all this other stuff as well. So, but it's about Demon Bitch desiring attention by doing all sorts of crazy, cloudy ways to do it. Otherwise, she shrivels up and dies. And then that's just like a bunch of stuff being thrown at her. It's just like a little picture right there. And then there you go with the Tamagotchi pins that were designed. It's like a Tamagotchi, except crappy, but they're pins. And the expressions are glow in the dark. So it's mad face or stupid happy. You can order one of the other or two. And that's what you can do. That's designed by Connie Huang. And then actually there was a piece of exclusive art, but that got snapped up within the first few days. So we're like, wow, okay. So I never had a piece of exclusive art get snapped up real quick, but somebody snapped that up. So we have some sketches that are available. Band-Aid is still available right here. So their sketches are $50 a piece. They're original. There's no copies of it. The next one is Boot to the Head. Somebody throwing a boot at Demon Bitch's face because, you know, I just like hurting her. I don't know why, but I do. And then there's Pink Eye and Broken Ankle, because that was inspired by somebody who actually had a fake broken ankle. And she's like, look at my broken ankle. And she put an arrow pointing to her foot. I've had a broken ankle, so I speak from experience. And that's Turd Sucker or Sucking Turds. That's been picked up. I mean, they were getting snapped up as fast. And then there's There Is No God. And then the other one down here is Karma. That got snapped up really quick. So I've got 3 left, and they're available. And that's the Tiki Patch and Sticker design. And it's just called 2 Hot Dogs or 2 Bad Hot Dogs, because she's just holding hot dogs. And this is Animu Demon. This was sold as a print for my other campaigns, but we're going to actually have this available as a purse charm. So it's Demon Bitch like Sailor Moon. And it's done by Mary Zoralita Bellamy. And when she said she wanted to do it, I was like, are you sure? Because she really sucks, but okay. So, and I scrolled, and she's actually been affiliated with the official My Little Pony license. I have no affiliation with Hasbro, but she's worked on the most recent card game. And now she also released 3 4x6 prints. One of them is available in the book, but you will get a signed one that's 4x6 by her. And I also have retailer options as well as other options, just digital options, and also another digital option, Win a Date with Demon Bitch. And even though I very much expressed it that I will just draw your worst date ever, some people said, oh, so we win a date with you. It's like, no, you don't win a date with me. I think it was just wishful thinking. They was thinking I'd cave to that. But I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with me. But then these are the stretch goals. Like if we hit 7,500, I'll print more of the hardcover en masse. The people that have asked for the hardcover, I will provide. It's not that, but I want to print more of the hardcover because it's more expensive. And then hitting 8,000, you get Titanic, where you get the pasties with every physical reward you get. And they're going to be the X pasties. So I want to try to get to that, at least 8,000 there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good solid campaign that you've got on here. I see that it's had a lot of movement. We were kind of talking beforehand that the lull didn't hurt you too bad on that one, that dreaded lull that's on there.
No.
In fact, you actually still kept the forward momentum. You kind of backed up a couple of times, but you kept going forward right afterwards. How do you keep that tempo going through the lull? Because I know that's a big thing with new creators who put it out there in Kickstarter. That dreaded lull is one of the main questions they always ask.
I'm only going to speak from experience because that's me, and I know Madeliene knows me. I mean, Caleb doesn't know me as much. I think when I get the propensity to get angry, that's when I get very motivated. So I like having fun, but at times when I get really frustrated, I think that's when things start getting moving with me. I don't know why. Like when I'm just saying, wow, I'm really fucking angry, and then all of a sudden the momentum starts moving. But I think it's just sheer persistence. Like there were times like I was going through this thing, like up a lot of percentage points, back a few, up, back, and it was beginning to kind of piss me off. I mean, who wouldn't be mad? But I mean, I didn't like go and start screaming at people or something. I mean, you have to control it, but I just like kept just pushing through. Like inside of my mind, I was like, fuck this. I'm not going to go and continue getting ground down by this. So I would book more shows. I talk whenever I possibly could on social media or on YouTube or anything. I mean, I even like would take this moment to talk on Facebook, not necessarily to just promote the campaign. I mean, I'd still promote it, but I put out like weird posts or something, or because the thing is that like for my Facebook, it's sort of a personality amplifier for me. And I'm not saying it isn't for anybody else, but for me, like there's like what I put out is my work. And so there's a certain tone to my work, and I tend to not exaggerate, but emphasize on it. It's still me, but it's still that type of thing. So exactly. Yeah, so it's just like, I just had to be persistent. Like the more it got harder, the more I pushed, and eventually that impetus pushed through. But it was hard for a while, like especially around tax time, because it was just grinding. But I just said, okay, well, I'm not going to let it get me down. Or even if it did get me down, I'm just going to be pissed off, and I'm just going to go let it fire me forward. So I'm being completely honest. So like there was actually one time where Facebook actually like They actually like restricted me because I said I would hit Demon Bitch with a lead pipe, and they said, "Oh, you're promoting violence," and I'm like, okay. Also, I got elected like president of CAPS, which is Comic Art Professional Society. So that was a big laughter amongst the thing. Like, why'd you get restricted? I'm like, so it actually became my selling point. So I don't know. But then I had lots of friends like Don Wynn. He like, that guy's got social media down. He's a bigger hoe than me. And he everything. And like, I did everything. Like we would do like a collaborate. There's like Facebook groups where we go, not groups, but chat groups where we throw off like updates like randomly or every so often, or wide updates. But then again, I would kind of partner up with people. Like Don was having some issues with some of the campaigns that were moving forward for him. So we teamed up and said, let's do like a targeted thing. So we realized Twitter was like the most active. So we just would mess with each other on Twitter all the time. And it was just one of those things. And like, we even started like, cause they were doing Grapple Rebel. I said, dude, let's start a fake flame war. So we just write all sorts of shit on each other's main comments pages. But it's like, we tried to have fun with it because it's like a hard enough thing. But like our properties allow that. It's not like it was a super serious property, but we had fun with it. And I colluded with him and Greg Smith and Travis Webb, and we just like each other's stuff. So we'd like mess with a game. So
and everyone needs to keep in mind too, we put that link that was going along down there. It's embedded in the feed as well. So y'all can click on that. But go over there. If you grab a hold of it, she will write you a note. It's her way of saying thank you. We'll put it that way.
It's gross and rude. If you like that sort of thing, feel free to have it. It'll be yours to hold. And I'll do it pretty much instantaneously.
Yeah.
And if you get the book, I'll do more rude things in it too.
Trust me, she will, because I got a book from a couple of years back, and she drew a few other things in there.
Yeah.
Remarks that were in there that I thought were great because they were just out of place completely in there, but you can tell they were definitely just, she wanted to throw a little more oomph into it.
Yes.
It was great. I loved it. It's definitely one of a kind book. We'll put it that way.
Right.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to Caleb's campaign right now. You've got Vampire Detective in Space. Let me go ahead and bring this up on screen so we can start taking a look at this one. First off, I'm a huge fan of vampires, so it automatically had my attention. Plus, you did the unicorn, which again, if y'all haven't seen this other one, the Unicorn Vampire Hunter is just, well, let's just say, get with him, look at it, and see what you think, and let me know what you think, because I don't want to give any spoilers on that one. It's something you're not expecting. But this one kind of surprised me because whenever he actually sent me a PDF so I could take a look at it and know what I'm talking about instead of sitting here just rambling on. It has elements of humanity, even though you're dealing with a vampire. And again, no spoilers involved in this by any means, but that was very interesting that you added that in there. So I want to go ahead and kind of touch on that real quick. How did you think to go from supernatural to the ultimate humanity that you set up in there? Because it'll get you. It's a page turner.
So, I mean, in everything that I write, I want to have characters at the center of it, and I like that's like Madeliene would say, a very pedestrian answer. I don't, but it's the books are about characters. It's not about vampires. Nothing. I like the titles of the things that I write and the trappings of them are just that. I mean, this is a book about building idols of people and what that does to us, and the relationships that people have, and how the relationships that we build in our heads are different than the ones that exist in reality. And that's not the way that I pitch the book, because that's a very heavy and sobering concept. The way I pitch the book is, this is about a detective, like a classic hard-boiled detective who it doesn't take care of himself and bumbles around the city narrowly solving mysteries in space, and also he's a vampire, but at its heart it is about a very broken person who has built an idol of someone, and hopefully everything that I write makes you cry. That's my goal.
I didn't cry, but I'm not going to, go off and say that, they weren't very teared up by any means or glossed over or anything like that. No. I won't admit to any of that, but no, that would never happen. So take a look right here. This is what we're paying attention to right there, because he is so close to that $6,000 goal. We need to push him over and get that thing funded as soon as possible on there. Get the word out, share. All you got to use the power of that finger, the correct one, hit that share button and get this thing out there. It costs you absolutely nothing to share. I mean, absolutely nothing. Trust me, I don't have the money to support one of these things financially, but I support as many as I can by using my finger, the correct one. And it helps, trust me, because some people that don't have the money, it happens. Other people that may not even know that he makes comics, all of a sudden they're going to look at it going, wow, that's something I definitely need to look into. So you never know. So definitely share it out and see what happens. And let's see, we're going to delve into this a little bit.
Sure. So this is the second issue of a series. This was actually something of an experiment because for those at home keeping track, it was not long ago that I launched the #1 Kickstarter, just a few months ago. This is an experiment that I did with, I was like, literally how fast can I turn around a Kickstarter and do another Kickstarter? And the results of that experiment, ask me again in a couple of weeks when the campaign is over. I mean, it's going to be successful. So at a baseline, I met my goal again. It wasn't like anyone was pissed that I came back so fast, but I delivered fast. Everyone who backed the first one already has their books. And there's a few people who never fill out their survey, so those people don't have their books. But that aside, they'll have their books, and a lot of them came back. So I think in a lot of ways, that's it was a success. But yeah, this is the second issue of the series. It's a sci-fi thing, and we've got 2 variant covers and then some stickers and trading cards. And what I did, this is actually something I'm trying. I put a preview for #1 instead of #2. Actually, at the bottom of the page, there's a preview for issue #2. But it occurred to me that something I've always done is put a preview of the most recent issue. And I'm like, well, if they've never read it before, how relevant is that going to be to them? And if they already have read it, they might already be interested without the preview anyway.
Right.
So this is just a preview of issue 1. And then further down, it goes into the rewards. And this is a very simple campaign. There's the book. There's a couple variant covers. There's a sticker and a trading card. And then you can add on my other series.
Yeah, and like I said, it's definitely, I mean, the sci-fi crowd out there is going to love it. The horror crowd's going to love it, being, it's vampires. Detective crowd, you reach out to that as well. So you're hitting all different kinds of markets going through this. How many markets have you actually marketed to? I mean, how many have you reached out to and really kind of pushed on?
To be honest, I have mainly just reached out to my existing fan base, and that may be a mistake. I think that definitely, if anyone who's listening who's trying to figure out how to market a book, they should listen to Madeliene and not me, because my thing is like, well, people who already like my stuff, like if you guys liked my unicorn thing, maybe you'll like this. And some of them did, and some of them didn't. And I mean, I think you can, if you look at my previous campaigns, I mean, the last 2 that I did for Unicorn Vampire Hunter raised over $15,000, and these 2 are a third of that. And so obviously that wasn't 100% conversion. The people who were into the unicorn thing were not all into this, and which is fine because it's a very different thing, and
Right.
That's how these things go. Should I have reached out? Should I have tried to find like groups online that were into detective fiction or sci-fi fiction, or vampire fetishists or something, and marketed to them? Probably. But I do have this. This is something I haven't super heavily promoted, but I did this romance novel variant cover, which
Yeah.
is something that I did for one of the issues of Unicorn Vampire Hunter, which is like my letterer Dave Lentz designed this, and it's just like supposed to be the kind of romance novel you'd find at the supermarket. And so we did one for Unicorn Vampire Hunter. It was very successful because the main vampire villain in that book is like a Spanish vampire, and so we got like we found this like photo of a shirtless Spanish guy, and like it has like a slogan on it, and it was very popular. So I decided to come back and sort of do a similar thing with this one. But Dave Lentz, my letterer, labeled that file as the smut cover. And then this is the stickers. Okay, so Jonathan Fisher is an artist and one of my favorite people in the entire world, and he's designed every sticker that I've done for all of my campaigns. And honestly, the stickers are, I don't know about you guys, but the stickers are my number one. In terms of add-ons, they're my number one thing. People love these stickers. And Jonathan and I work very hard on designing the stickers every time. We've had some stickers that, I mean, when I go to cons, I just have a board that has all these stickers on them, and they sell like crazy. They almost sell better than my books do. So I'm really into the stickers, and the skull vampire astronaut one for this one, and then the last campaign had this life is short, drink it up, fake blood, Coca-Cola type sticker. And then, of course, the trading cards. I keep trying to not do the trading cards, but every time I ask my fan base, like my email list, like, should I still do the trading cards? It's like overwhelmingly, yes, please keep offering the trading cards. So I have a growing collection. I think there's like 24 cards in my like trading card collection now of characters from my books. And so, people like them, and so I keep doing them, and then, of course, there's my other series. This is Unicorn Vampire Hunter is being published by Scout Comics, and people seem to like it. I got that. I recently listened to a TED Talk by the woman who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, where she talks about her fears of never doing anything that will ever be as successful ever again, and that was in 2009, and she never did anything that was as successful ever again. But of course, that's like a worldwide phenomenon. I hope and pray that I will do something more successful than this in my life. But it is, I'm feeling that sort of curse right now because people really love this book, and they don't, I'm trying new things, so we'll see. So you always put new things out in the world and see what people like. But yeah, Unicorn Vampire Hunter, that's sort of my calling card right now, and you can pick it up on this campaign. These are sketch cards. Dave Swartz, who's the artist on the series, will draw a character for you if you want to pay him for that through my campaign.
Nice. And then, of course, we have the preview here. The floating digital head. That's something that I'm definitely paying attention to in this one. There is no history. There is no backstory, no nothing going into exactly what it is, who it is, anything like that I can see as of yet, which makes it even more that I have to see the next issue and find out what's going on.
What I will say is that Liz Floating Head, this series, okay, so this series is adapted from the first comic book I ever did was called A Small Favor. It was not successful. I did a few campaigns. I did 2 campaigns and one that failed, and it just wasn't selling. But I really loved this character, Liz, who's a floating AI head from it. And so I was like, I'm just putting her in my new book. And she's my favorite character that I've ever made. She is just a snarky floating AI. And she is, spoiler alert, very important to the series. And she does have a backstory, and it does matter. So stay tuned. And then this is what I'm calling the Trash Squid. Like, if you liked Trash Panda, this is Trash Squid. And he's an orphan who helps the detective solve mysteries.
Very cool. And then stretch goals, once you get funded on this thing, you start moving up into stretch goal territory. You've got some good stuff listed up on here. Yeah,
I mentioned before we started recording that I'm probably not going to hit the stretch goals on this, but I will save them for the next time. And I actually have A stretch goal print by Mary Zoralita Bellamy. I think I'm saying that correctly, maybe, who did the print for Christie's campaign. And I forgot to update with an image. There's an update where I posted an image of it, and it's a lot of fun. And she's done a bunch of pinups for me for stretch goals. And people really seem to like hers. Of course, I had to have her do for Unicorn Vampire Hunter. I had to have her do a My Little Pony style of my unicorn character, naturally. But so that's it. That's the campaign. It's pretty short and sweet, like to the point. It's very simple campaign.
I mean, you've got a solid campaign on there. You've got everything written out. You know exactly what you're getting. You've got some good tiers on there. The storyline, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody, that you're going to like it. Again, not even any spoilers on this by any means. And I read a lot of books. Trust me, I read a lot of books. This one actually had me where I was like, and to the next one, and to the next one. And now I'm looking at it like, okay, so there's a part 3 coming out to this, right? We're doing a 3 on this.
Yeah. It's going to be a 4-issue series, and they're already scripted. It's just everything takes time. Like everyone on this call can attest to that. Everything takes time. We have our, like, I'm sure like Madeliene, I'm sure you have Boston Metaphysical Society plotted out far in advance. Sure, you know what's coming down the pike, and I know what's coming down the pike. And I don't know if Demon Bitch is like as narratively driven, but I'm sure you have ideas well in advance of what you're actually able to create. So
I think it's just I go from the narrative where what pisses me off or makes me think it's really stupid, and I start going. As I said, it's kind of a weird form of therapy for me, because like when people meet me, they go like, "Wow, you're really nice," and I'm like it's like, yes, my drawings are angry, but I'm not an asshole. But people seem to like that. I mean, I guess because I'm fun. I don't know, but
you're interesting, Christie. You're interesting.
I guess so. I mean, that's why it's like on my Facebook. Like if I get like, if I get like restricted on Facebook by saying something, and I'm not even saying anything like to hurt somebody else, but then I'll just say something because my friends and I, we joke around, and they like, oh, they put me in Facebook jail. Sorry. And that just seems to increase my clout. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have your show that you draw on and everything too, which is very random. I mean, you could be drawing something, and then all of a sudden you'll get an idea from the audience out there and just be like, nope, scrap this. We're starting over with something new. This sounds even better. And I love how you just shoot straight over that way with that.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a while because I've just been busy putting this campaign and book, and I've been working on other projects. I mean, I'd like to bring it back, but I just, as everybody knows here on this, if you've done this for a while, if you're on shows, it can kind of drain you. Like there were times during this Kickstarter, I was on shows for 5 hours straight, or almost 6 hours straight. And like literally I had a 2-hour show at 6 a.m, and then an 1.5-hour show later on in the afternoon, and then 2 hours in the evening. And it's like, I would crash in the middle of the day. It takes out a lot. And you think, I'm sitting here talking about myself. How could that? But it's like, you have to kind of just be alert and on point and everything. And that takes a lot of energy out. So with this Kickstarter, it's like, I was on way more shows than I had ever been. And it was kind of nuts. And like, even when I did the lunch hour, it was like, there were times I was exhausted. It's like, okay, end of day, I just need to not be online and be present. Like what's been helping me now on social media is that I do randomized, like maybe a minute or 2 lives, because so Facebook can't pinpoint and say, oh, we're going to go throttle you. That's what I learned. For at least you have to keep adapting to social media. That's the thing that kind of sucks about it, because it doesn't get it. They're constantly goal posting. And I think that kind of sucks for people. So, but yeah, I mean, I think Pops was actually quoting me. He was saying like, I was on 65 shows. I'm like, oh, you kept count? So
that's a lot of shows.
That's a lot. I don't.
That's a lot of shows. I mean, I usually average about 20 during a campaign.
Holy moly.
And this week I have a show every day till next Sunday.
For my next campaign that's coming this summer, I think I have like 10 lined up, and I was thinking to myself, man, I'm going to be exhausted. That's too many. And hearing you guys talk, I'm like, holy crap.
No, I would actually suggest that you get at least 5 more scheduled, and then the rest are going to come as they start, because then people will see you and then they'll go like, hey, come on my show. And then because I think I maybe started with only 10 or 12. And then as the campaign progressed, and just more and more just started adding on.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just like you kind of have to let things kind of fall into place. I know that's the weirdest thing, because on a campaign, you feel like you got to plan it down, but really you kind of have to allow for other people to kind of like, oh yeah, we want to take you and stuff. And I mean, I don't know. It's been kind of interesting, like just doing all these friggin' shows, because I'm just like.
I had, if you don't mind, I had a question for Madeliene leading into. I know we're going to start talking about Madeliene's campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I have, I obviously we all pay attention to all each other's stuff, and you are one of the people who has stuck with like one IP. Like from the beginning. I don't, unless I've missed one, I think every campaign you've run has been about Boston Metaphysical Society, right?
Yes.
And I've also seen other creators who are like, they're like shotgun approach. Like every campaign is a new IP, and like maybe in a year or two, they'll come back with a follow-up or whatever to that one. But it's like all over the place. And I have like sort of hedged like a middle ground between those things. I mean, but of course, some things have been more successful than others. And have you thought about like branching out and doing an unrelated different series, or are you like very much like Boston Metaphysical Society is my thing?
Oh, I have a host of other ideas that I want to do. I have a ton, but this is primarily about branding. Yeah. And I was very fortunate. This particular IP kind of did well right out of the box. And so I ended up building a career around it. And, Boston Metaphysical now is the bread and butter. It's the one that brings in enough money to be able to, one, continue with Boston Metaphysical, and ultimately, well, like we branched out with the audio drama to do different mediums within the same universe, because that's a different way of marketing to a different audience. I mean, eventually, right now, the audio drama is just available through a CD and download, but, through me. But it will be going out to the wide world, iTunes, iMusic, all of that in the near future. And then when those people hear it, they're going to go like, wait, there's a graphic novel, there's a novel, and then bringing them into the fold. So there is a grand plan behind this, but absolutely, if I had time, there are so many other projects I want to be doing. And well, actually, the next one I'm working on, I'm writing a story for Lady Mechanica. Okay. And so that's going to be the next next priority after this is done. But I already have my next 2 years mapped out with work. I've got the next 4-issue. I'm going to move away from one-shots, which is what this Kickstarter compiles, is the 4 one-shots, into a 4-issue miniseries. That's already outlined out. I have a draft of the first issue. And it's just, it's going to take the team somewhere else, somewhere different. And we'll see a few old faces and some new ones. But it is such a big world, and it's such a rich world that, I can keep going with this for quite a while.
That's awesome.
I think it's important. Oh, go on.
Go ahead.
No, I think it's important. I think with a lot of commonality is that, like, to success is that you continue with an IP that works for you, like, I think consistently. And then it's okay to branch out into another IP. There's another IP I'm branching out into if I can get it friggin' done later on in the year. But I continued with Demon Bitch for about a few years, and that was pretty much the only focus. There was a couple of other stories that I worked on or whatever, but Demon Bitch, I had to be known for this thing of Demon Bitch. Matt Groening was known for Life in Hell, and then eventually jumped to The Simpsons, and now he can do other stuff. Like, he's also known for Futurama, I forgot what the thing is, Unenchanted or Disenchanted, I think that's
Disenchanted, yeah.
Disenchanted. But it's like, even though those two may not be as popular, I mean, Futurama has its own following, so does Disenchanted, but not as much. the big people that follow are A, The Simpsons, and B, Life in Hell. So like sometimes it's good to kind of IP hop until you get better known, and then you could do IP hopping everywhere else. So that's what I've noticed. Like you're known for this, and then you get known for another thing. So
yeah.
And it could definitely open up new markets that would cross over too. I mean, some people that didn't know about Boston Physical could go over there and jump onto that after the new IP is addressed. They could be like, wait a minute, you had something before this, and then go and look that they never knew it was there. And then you just get more, energy in between there, which is great to have.
Absolutely.
I think part of it for me is like I just have so many things that I'm always like, I have so many ideas and I can't help myself. And like, I also can't imagine a world like people talk about like, oh, they come home and they just like play video games or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, like, or they go walk the dog and like, that's their home life and after work. And I'm like, there's too many crazy things happening in my brain that just like, I have to like make more things. Like, it's like breathing, and so like, I just like, I think it might've been smarter for me to stick with one IP. I just like, don't know that I'm capable of it. And I like applaud you for like, you obviously clearly have more business sense than I do.
I mean, you got to go with what works. If one IP isn't working, then go with another. I mean, go with what works for you. I mean, it's just, that's what I've noticed. Like, I don't think it's bad to like try something else, because I've done that, but it's like, you kind of have to kind of like keep one that's persistent. Like for me, I'm trying to go with this other IP to be persistent, even though it's very different than Demon Bitch, but I'm just like, might as well try to have fun with it. I mean, that's what I do.
Well, let's take a look at your current IP that you've got, Madeliene. We're going to look at your campaign right now.
This cover is great, by the way. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Marguerite did a terrific job.
9 days to go, 675 backers strong on here. How many backers? How many backers have you gotten to before? What's the ceiling that you've hit before?
998.
Wow.
Damn.
But that was for a new story. That was for Book of Demons.
Mm-hmm.
So I do know that since a number of my fans already have the 4 books, they're going to be happy with that. Some will want the new cover and they'll want the new story, and that's great too. So, my goals for this were more modest than Book of Demons. But what's really nice is I'm seeing a lot of new backers come on board. So, which is pretty awesome.
I think you're probably hitting some people who like just don't do single issues, right?
Yes.
Who prefer the trade format.
Yeah, and then there'll be those who like, oh, this is new, and I can get both volumes, all in one shot. That's actually the new to Boston tier, where you get a print edition of volume 1 and volume 2, plus our coloring book. And we're up to our 6th stretch goal. We actually made our 6th stretch goal, which is a really, really cool copper finished bookmark.
Nice.
With a design by if you scroll down, you got to go all the way down.
It's the blimp, right? It looks like it's the blimp. Am I right? It's the blimp?
It's the airship. Yes, it's the airship.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's the airship. That's you're coming up. That's the cover of volume 1, which includes our original 6-issue miniseries with art by Emily Hugh.
Mm-hmm.
That cover's by Roberta Ingranata. And then as you're coming up, those are the 4 issues that are going to be included in volume 2. So this is a big trade. This is 176 pages.
Damn.
It has extras in it. Obviously, it has the 10-page bonus story plus some background material.
Right.
These are some of the pages that Roberta did for the short called The Meeting. I'm doing a little backstory on one of our newer team members. Her name's Alma Bryant. She's my African-American amateur scientist.
Was she a real person?
No.
Okay.
No, the only person who was a historical figure is Granville T. Woods, the African-American gentleman on the cover.
And you've also worked on a lot of anthologies as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Because I knew I'd seen your name in quite a few other books that I have as well. I was like, wait a minute, I know there's other things you've worked on too.
Yeah, I really enjoy playing in other people's sandboxes. It's for me, it's like it's just fun. because I can write the story, I can do more comedy, I can do just fun stuff, and then hand it off and say, hey, now you produce it. I don't have to deal with that because I have enough on my plate already.
Nice.
For sure, that is on the couple of anthologies. I ran a couple, but I participated in a couple. And when I just handed off a story and let somebody else take care of everything and I didn't have to do anything else, that's like a pretty great feeling.
It is. That is fun. That's the cover for our CD for the audio drama called The Ghost Ship. And it is a standalone story, full cast, original music, special effects. It's like your old time radio play.
That's awesome.
Nice.
8 episodes long, about a half hour each. So you get 4 hours plus commentary.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Flash drive.
Wow. Now that's something different there because, you know, flash drives are flash drives, but that's not a flash drive to me. That's something you never use to put as a flash drive. You just want to show that thing off.
It also can be used as a tertiary weapon.
That's two.
Yeah, nice.
And that's a proof of our new pin. I do a pin for every graphic novel. I have people who collect all our pins, so I have to do a pin all the time. So it's fun.
Nice.
That's our coloring book.
Actually, enamel pins are actually kind of a cool thing to do because they're actually pretty simple to make once you get it down, and they're not too expensive to make either. And people think, I got something.
Yeah, and these are all your different pins from the different ones that came out, correct?
That's awesome.
Correct.
Those look nice.
Yeah. That looks like something you get out of the Franklin Mint or something like that.
Yeah.
It does. It has that look and feel to it.
They do a great job. And there's also the prequel novel and the prequel anthology of short stories and novellas.
Nice. Very nice. So, I mean, you've got some great stuff on here, and then you've even got some of the add-ons for some of your other things. Digital comic bundles is what you went with on here.
Yes, I alternate between digital and physical. So right now we've everyone who has pledged to reward will be getting an additional 18 digital comics, and those who have pledged to a physical reward will be getting 4 magnets plus the bookmark.
Nice.
And I have one more stretch goal planned, so which will probably be announced tomorrow.
Sweet. Oh, look, there's my book.
There's your book.
There it is right there. Nice. And it's a good selection of books too. I mean, these are well-known books on there.
Actually, I'm curious to read the Winchester Mystery House because I grew up near there. And there were like a lot of stories about Sarah Winchester that you kind of have to filter.
Yeah, Josh Warner wrote that from Source Point Press. Source Point Press is my publisher.
Yeah.
Josh is the editor-in-chief, but he's also a terrific writer and artist.
That's awesome.
You kind of save money if you can both write and draw.
Yes, I don't think he did the art for it, but I know he does a lot of the covers for Source Point.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Depending what it is. And there's the proof of the what will be, it's a metal bookmark with a copper finish.
That's awesome.
That is nice.
People have been telling me to do bookmarks, and I just kind of ignore them because it sounds like a pain, but maybe I ought to.
Yeah, I used to do the paper bookmarks, and I got tired of those. And another creator friend, Mike Shea, who does Miskatonic High, he and I chat periodically, and I really love some of his stretch goals and the stuff that he had. So I said, magnets, what about those magnets? He goes, my backers love magnets. And it turns out so do mine. They stick them everywhere, and it's a lot of fun.
I just have to remember they don't go in the tote that's right underneath the computer. I got to remember that doesn't happen.
No. I've had people tell me like, oh, they put it on their office fridge. They put it on their front door.
See, I know. Go on. Sorry.
And not only are they pretty and they're fun, but guess what? It's great marketing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would do Demon Bitch as a magnet because I actually want people to eat.
I think you should do Demon Bitch as a magnet.
Oh god.
I think it would be cool. I'd love to have one on my fridge.
I think
Then again, there's not much that grosses me out when it comes to eating either. I was in the medical field.
Don't
for
give her
30
a
years.
challenge. Don't give her a challenge.
Closest.
There was this one book, like one of my friends was complaining, I need to lose weight because he has diabetes. And he said, I'm getting kind of fat. I need to lose weight. I said, oh, I know the perfect thing. So for his birthday, I got him Johnny Ryan's like A New Low, which is he's a very gross cartoonist. So I sent that to him. He only read 2 stories.
you're a lovely friend, Christy.
Hey, I listen to people.
I know.
Look, I won't go into details, but I sat at a diner reading an autopsy report while eating the same food they were using to describe the body with.
Wow. Okay.
It didn't even get phased.
All right. We probably shouldn't go to A New Low like Johnny Ryan right now.
Exactly.
I'm gross like that too. That's the problem. Like,
No, but with someone that's coming in, let's say with yours, Madeliene, they're coming in, they've never heard of you before. They see you on this show, or they see you on one of your other shows coming up or anything, and they want to get started into your world. Where do they start?
If their funds are limited, there is a reward tier for a digital issue of Volume 1, so they can get started there. Or there's a digital version of Volume 1 and Volume 2, which will get them. It'll get them everything plus all the additional digital comics that the stretch goals we've met. If they prefer hard copies, then yeah, there's like I said, there's the New to Boston, which has Volume 1, Volume 2, and the coloring book.
Very cool. And of course, there's all kinds of cool stuff that comes with it whenever you get it, like you said, and it just keeps growing from there. And you've still got a little over a week, right?
Yeah, a little over a week. We end in the morning on Thursday, May 12th.
I think our campaign's launched almost at the same time.
Same time, yeah.
So it's about the same time. Christie's ends a lot sooner, so everyone listening should go back hers right now.
Yes, because she has like 3 days left.
Yes.
yeah, and
Really
it
work
really
on her, and she really wants to write y'all some notes. So make sure back and get some of those good notes. I'm sure backer number 200 is going to get a really good note. I mean, like,
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Christy, I don't know if you do this, but I am. I always do a what do you call it when you deface their comic with a Sharpie?
Oh, you mean sign it or?
Yeah, but like not just a signature. When you draw some crappy drawing on the front of it.
Oh yeah, like you sketch on it. I mean,
Yeah. Every backer 69, like every 69 and 169 or 269 or whatever. Like I usually draw something inappropriate on there. I mean, I usually check with the backers first, just in case it's like somebody who wouldn't appreciate that. But that's my big thing on social media that I won't shut up about. That's like the main thing I do on social media when I'm promoting a campaign is like, we're almost to 69. Like, I don't know.
Well,
I write very family friendly comics. I don't know why that's like my big social media thing, but
I mean, you got to do something different. You got to switch it up. I mean, like one time Niall Scala like asked me on Pop XP, it's like, have you ever had somebody like cancel their pledge because you fucking wrote like a really terrible thank you? And I said, I think after they read the campaign and watch the video, they know what they're getting into. So, and if it's people that I know, like one of our friends, like I think Madeliene would know him. I think you might know him too, Caleb, but he just pledged and I wrote like, well, I hit her on the head with a lead pipe. Oh shit, I got banned off Facebook again. So I mean, yeah, I just make jokes at the shit that I do. Sometimes it's like I don't really take myself. It's weird, like I don't take myself seriously, but yet I do with the work I do. Like,
oh yeah,
Demon Bitch, it looks like a fuck off comic, but it's like I'm actually really driven with this comic.
I mean, we're streaming to not only Facebook, but YouTube, but also Twitter now, because we're trying to open up the market and get some new people involved in that. And Twitter's been, like I said, working very well for us, and we got a really good following over there. So there's a lot of people that'll be watching this. That's why I'm asking the questions I am about. If they don't know who you are, where do they need to go to get started on this? Hey, Caleb, what about you? What do they need to do to get involved in your world? How do they need to do this?
I mean, on the current Kickstarter, I mean, the best way is through the Kickstarter. And I'm on Kickstarter so much that it's annoying probably to people. You can pick up issue 1 of my thing, or Unicorn Vampire Hunter. That's all on there. You know, just like there's digital stuff on the campaign. If you want to pick it up, and you know, that's it. They start out with number 1. I like to write. I believe in writing number 1s that feel like a complete story, but also pull you in. I don't believe in writing number 1s as just the first chapter of like a novel. To me, a number 1 needs to tell you enough. I also don't believe in holding out mysteries on people. Like, probably if I introduce a mystery within 1 issue, it will be solved. Because I just don't. That's not my. I'm not. You know, I'm not writing Lost or Game of Thrones. You know, like
Not yet.
So yeah, thank you. But issue 1 will tell you everything you need to know. If you read issue 1 of one of my comics and you don't like it, then you're probably not going to like it.
And that's probably the title of your 3rd issue, and Vampire Detective in Space is Lost. So we'll just go ahead and throw that out there right now. Call it Lost in Space. No, you can't do that. There's another.
Can't do that.
10 million iterations of
people.
Lost in Space. Yeah. Like it's the 3rd iteration I've seen. There is like the one with the original one. There's the one with William Hurt, excuse me. And then there was like the 3rd one. I guess it's still currently going now with Toby Keith.
Netflix one, yeah.
Yep.
I like the second one, the first remake of Lost in Space. It came out when I was a kid, and it gave me nightmares, like so many nightmares. So, yeah.
Spider bots in that thing, I'm sure.
Well, the armor was cool, like how the helmet came down.
Oh yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
So you're bringing up about, you know, some of the stuff that comes up on different platforms that we're going to talk about. You know, there's a lot of comics that are going to Netflix and whatnot in you know, series form. Who wants a series? Who wants to see their work done on a series? Oh, I know.
Obviously, all of us.
More Cinemax. That would be.
Oh man, mine would be just.
I mean, yours is just an adult. I mean, it's already like. I mean, it's like
Swim.
it's an Adult Swim cartoon, right?
I swear to God, I'm probably going to put the worst shit in there ever and see if I can get away with it.
Well, Madeliene, you're looking to possibly get yours. You'd like to see yours digital?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, long story short, this started out as a TV pilot, adapted into a graphic novel. Learned that I love writing comics, so I stayed. And, you know, here I am 10 issues later, and an audio drama later, and a novel, and God knows what else is going to come down the pike. But yeah, you know, I have been approached by producers, and, you know, it's a matter of finding the right partner, and I'm perfectly willing to wait for the right partner. I am not in any rush.
And that's good too, because you don't want to rush it and then have something where it gives the bad, you know, the worst part of it that's left on there. Where people are like, well, if it was this bad and this, how bad is the actual book itself? You don't want to go backwards. You want to go forwards.
Correct.
That's awesome. That's a good attitude to have. I think. You know, that's a great attitude, because I think if somebody came along and just offered me any amount of money to adapt my thing, I would be like, you're sold. Like, hey, where do I sign?
Yeah, I mean, it's like my relationship with Source Point Press. You know, I had friends who got picked up earlier than I did, and I'm like, you know, should I or whatever? And, you know, Source Point, it all came at the right time.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I knew Travis, and that who at the time was, you know, editor-in-chief, and, you know, we had a professional relationship for years before this even happened. So I knew the folks there. You know, I trusted the folks there. It's yeah, and it's about building relationships and being comfortable with, you know, what they're doing with your IP.
Sure. No, that's very similar to Unicorn Vampire Hunter got picked up by Scout Comics, and I wasn't going to agree to let them publish it until I knew a lot of other people who had been published by Scout, and I talked to the editors, and like I got to know, like, it wasn't, because I did get a few other offers on Unicorn Vampire Hunter, at least before Scout, and it was like, you know, had to be the right partner. I mean, you know, if it's like something is your pride and joy, it's like something that you've poured so much into, you're just going to sign it over to whatever publisher comes first.
Yeah, and Charlie Stickney is a great human being.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Charlie and I go a little way back, like right when he started, before he became involved with Scout Comics. And fun story about him, we had met many years ago locally, pre-pandemic, because he wanted to talk about Kickstarter, and we were talking about that. And he says, "Oh, I'm going to my very first Comic-Con." I said, "That's great," thinking he's local. So I'm thinking, oh, he's going to Long Beach, or, some medium to small thing, get your feet wet. He goes, "Oh no, we're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con." And I'm thinking to myself, are you out of your freaking mind? I mean, because that's just so hard. But I'm going like, are you sure about this? And so I just started giving him little tips to survive. Of course, he did great. But he did say it was very, very hard to do his San Diego for his very first con. And of course, he's done fabulously well. So,
You got to do the Shaka Zulu thing. You can't go front. Shaka Zulu.
Yeah, he just went full hog and got in over his head and swam very fast out and did fabulous. So yeah, kudos to Charlie.
And sometimes that works for some people that are out there. And that kind of brings up to the final question that I'm going to ask each one of you, because this show is all about bringing that exposure and that energy level to the current campaigns that are on there. So while everyone here has a current campaign, there are other people who will have campaigns in the future and everything. So my question is going to be to each of you, what one piece of advice would you give to a new creator coming into this now? And we'll start off with Christie on this one.
Being unabashedly yourself. I know I've talked with a lot of artists, and they all say, well, I'm shy, I'm this. And like, look, you don't need to be a car salesman to sell your stuff. But I'm going to tell you the reality. There's going to be millions of other people that are talented like you, and you have to stick out. And for that moment, for 30 seconds at a table, you have to stick out. I carry that onto a campaign. You have to write it as you. Yes, of course, you have to have it simple, to the point, well thought out of. But it doesn't mean you can't be you. And the point is that they're doing it because of you. They're contributing because of you. And it could be the greatest story, but if you're not really showing yourself, like, they don't kind of know you, they can't connect. So that's why it's like I go and say, like, look, put out something on social media, be yourself. And people think that you have to be this, I have to be P.T. Barnum and all this. It's like, not everybody's going to be P.T. Barnum. I mean, you look at Lonnie Millsap, he's very quiet, but he's very successful. He's worked for he does New Yorker cartoons with Bacon, I think. And like, he has his own series that he's been working at, but he's like a very quiet, very mellow guy, but just be yourself. It'll shine out. Yes, go to shows. You don't need to be this. Be yourself. You will shine. It'll be fine. And the more I tell people that, the more people come out of their shells. And I think they're more successful, because I think the worst thing that you could do is pretend to be something you're not. I mean, there's one thing if your facet of your personality comes out a little more when you're in front of the camera, and sometimes the other part kind of is different behind camera. Sometimes I'm like that. And that doesn't mean you're fake or anything. That just means that different modes. People have different modes, but I tell people it's okay. Just be yourself. That's just my important thing that I've learned.
And that's very good advice on that. And it makes sense, because you don't want to, it kind of ties in a lot to what Madeliene was saying about don't go out there and try too much on it, but you still have to be enough. You have to be somewhat different, but not over the top, because you don't want to make that you have one chance at a first appearance. That is the common thing that's out there. A lot of people forget. They think, I make stuff, therefore people will come in droves. If you build it, they will come. That was in a movie, and that was good, great, and wonderful. It doesn't always work in every other aspect of life. I mean, it doesn't. So sometimes you have to work a little bit harder on that, but you work smarter in the process. So that makes a lot of sense. Madeliene, what about you? Biggest piece of advice you could give somebody?
Well, one, I completely agree with Christie. Absolutely. The other thing, I'm afraid it's almost a self-plug here. You should read my book, Kickstarter for the Independent Creator. Christie actually did the cover for it, and get the green cover, because that's the second edition. But that will give you the foundation you need to have a successful Kickstarter. And the reason I wrote that book was because I had seen a number of wonderful projects do the crash and burn, simply because the creator really didn't know how to run a campaign. They weren't prepared for it. And so I'm all for pre-preparation and organization ahead of time. It just makes your life so much easier, and get that mailing list.
Exactly. Caleb, what about you? What kind of advice you got?
I mean, before I mean, my biggest piece of advice is the mailing list. But what I will say about first impressions is that you are not damned if your first impression doesn't go the way you wanted it to. I had a comic book series that like, I don't know if Christie and Madeliene remember, but I did have a comic book series called The Small Favor that I did 3 campaigns on. The third failed. The second one was mildly successful. I got some really great advice from some other creators. Most notably, I will say, I have to give him a shout out every time, it's Pat Chan, who gave me some real brutal advice. And I pivoted, and my 4th campaign was, well, not my 4th, maybe my 5th, was Unicorn Vampire Hunter, which just blew everything else that I had ever done out of the water. And that was my 5th Kickstarter campaign. So I'm just saying, like, if you have something that you want to make and you put it out and it flops, it's not the end of the world. I mean, my fiance put out a book in her early 20s that flopped. Self-published Kickstarter. Technically, it was successful, and it but it never went anywhere. And now she's making new stuff that's awesome. And like, there's always, like, life goes on. And if we judge Stephen King by the first thing he ever wrote, like, he wouldn't have become the success that he is, right? Like, so it's okay if you make stuff that sucks, because making stuff is what it's about. Like, make stuff and then make more stuff and then keep making stuff. And if it sucks, that's okay, because that's part of the process. And then along that process, start a mailing list, because that's the thing that really matters.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's great advice too, because like you said, don't ever stop. I mean, keep being who you are. Keep, traveling and fighting for that dream. One thing that I've always said in all of my shows, and I'm definitely going to say in this one as well, is that the one thing that draws me to the indies more than anything else is the passion. There is more passion put into the works in the indies than there is in any other of the mediums that are out there. And you can definitely see it. And that's one of the great things whenever you open up one of these books, you read and you see that passion. So if you're new to the indies, if you're new to any of these creators, if you're new to anything that's going on, definitely find out what's going on. Go click on these Kickstarter links, go see what they have available. We went through the stuff online here tonight, but take your time, look and see what's on there. And I guarantee you, if you have questions, reach out to them. If you will go ahead and ask questions on the Kickstarter of each one of them, either one of them, we'll definitely get back with you on that.
Oh yeah.
I will say that when I was starting out, another person that I have to give a shout out to is Walter Osley, who is, I think, one of the MVPs of all time of indie comics. And when I was starting out and I didn't know anything, I bothered him all the time, and we ended up becoming really good friends. But he just helped me. I was like a young, early 20s, didn't know anything, was just like messaging him all the time, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And like, eventually he started making YouTube. Now you can like get his advice on YouTube and it's all there, and don't bother him, but also bother people. Just like message people, because they want to help you. Like, I think everyone in this call would, if you were like, I'm a new creator and like, I need help with this thing, like, none of us are going to be like, fuck you, I don't want to help you.
Well,
Except for Christie might.
Yeah, just because
right.
No, I wouldn't say fuck you out of. You'd have to be a real asshole to me to make me want to do that. Although Charlie Stickney actually did say, you should be in a reality show. I'm like, oh my God.
He's right. He's right.
If you show respect, you get respect. I mean, it is. It's if you show respect, you get respect. And remember, all these people do this thing, and they do it because they love it. It's not because they are mega rich and they already have the millions of dollars and they just do this for whatever reason, just to have fun. This is their livelihoods in most cases. So support them any way that you can. And like I said, if you don't financially have the means to support them for whatever reason, and nobody's judging on that, it costs nothing to hit that share button. So always remember that and always use that as something you can do. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to close this thing out tonight. I thank all of y'all for being here this evening and spending the time
Thank you.
on the show.
Thank you.
Hopefully we're able to get y'all some more people on there, some more supporters, some more followers, and get some more things going on there. Caleb is awfully close to funding. He is getting closer and closer. Christie is awfully close to that 200 backer mark. We need to get there. And Madeliene is steadily climbing. She's about to hit the, I believe, 700 backer mark. She'll be hitting that probably overnight. It's pretty close to it.
Pretty close.
So thank you, everyone that's been here. We certainly appreciate it. Did you have something you want to go ahead and add for tonight?
Yeah, we said we were going to basically announce that we are going to be doing a viewership contest. I'll be posting, we'll be posting a video tomorrow with all the official rules and everything for it. But we want to increase our following on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So each platform will have its own rules. So whichever social media account you use, you'll have specific way to go in and get your entry, which pretty much means if you've got more than one social media account, that'll be more than one entry in if you choose to use each one to do what we're asking. But it's pretty much just share out something for us and then like and follow, and just to help grow that viewership so that we can increase our reach for everybody.
Exactly. It's not about us retiring by any means on the money that we'll get by being monetized eventually. I'm not a 12-year-old kid making $1 million a year. Not that I'm bitter or anything by any means, but I'm not that kid. And 14 cents every month or whatever that you get for being monetized on YouTube or something along those lines, after taxes, would be about 7 cents or so. I don't think I'll be retiring on that one. The only reason we do this and do it the way that we're doing with the contest and all is because we want more exposure for our guests. So every time that we have a Christie, a Madeliene, a Caleb come up here on this show, we have more chances of getting them more exposure, more energy, and more followers and more backers out there. So that's the main reason we're doing that. So make sure that you're going to be watching tomorrow for that video. Not only are we going to come out with the rules on that one, we're actually going to be showing off some of the stuff that we've already gotten. We've had a lot of people donating to this. It's amazing. And also, my loving partner over here went ahead and donated some of my personal stash into this. So I got to put some of that in there. But it's all worth it in the end. So that being said, thank you very much. We're looking to grow this together and see what we can do. And it's all about working together on this and seeing how we can go ahead and raise the voice of the indies together. So until then, next week we have another great positive influence for you, same time. But remember, this week marks the return of Hell of a Show on Thursday is coming back. My guest is Anderson Robb. And then, of course, on Saturday, we have Unscripted. And you do not want to miss that one. We're going to give you the schedule of who all is going to be on that panel as well.
Well, Thursday, we are also going to be letting everybody know about a tribute we will be doing for David Fott.
Yes.
And then we are announcing a sale for our marketing, the marketing side of things, as a special for Free Comic Book Day. We are not creators, so we don't have a free comic book to give out, but we are going to offer a special sale on our marketing prices for everybody in lieu of free comic books. So
exactly.
That'll be on Saturday. So you guys will want to tune in to see those things.
All right. So a lot of things going on this week. Keep in touch, see what's going on. But the first thing you need to do is jump over there to Christie's Kickstarter, Caleb's Kickstarter, and Madeliene's Kickstarters and show some support. Thank you very much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Positive Influence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.